Hey guys, it's Ricardo again, this time with the 2007 Toyota Tacoma. No premium system from the factory, just a basic Toyota radio with the silver dash on it. Want to let you guys know how to remove this radio to install a new one, which I'm going to do. I'm going to install a double-din video screen kit by Kenwood with Bluetooth capability in the USB output too, or input should I say. This panel from the AC controls or the heater controls, it's gonna unsnap coming this way out. There's gonna be 4 bolts securing the radio, 2 from this side and 2 from this side. And there, once you remove this, you're gonna see the bolts. If you look down from the bottom to up, you're gonna see the bolts sticking out. Or actually, you don't even have to take a peek too low down there to look at them. You're gonna see them when you remove this panel. And they have 10mm heads on them, so you can use a nut driver, socket set, whatever you have right there. That'll be handy to remove the bolts. And once you remove those bolts, you're gonna unsnap the radio because it's just clipped on, of course, with those bolts securing it. You unsnap it, unplug the 2 harnesses and the antenna cable, and you're done. And then you're gonna take the radio to the bench, because the new double-din radio is gonna require the ISO brackets that are attached to the side of the radio. You're gonna remove those metal brackets and attach them to the new radio, because the new radio is gonna bolt on the same way this factory radio is bolted on to the dash. And of course, you're gonna use a trim kit too, and I'll show you guys that in the later in the video to see how the work progresses. As you can see here, I used a little panel tool, a plastic panel tool, and just to pull the panel out of the way. And I'll show you guys, if you can see, one bolt, another one, another 2 right there on that side. Just take those out, and like I said, unclip the dash. The whole radio panel here is going to come off all at once. It's one piece, and you'll see once you remove it, you're going to see it how it is. And also another thing, guys, when you remove the dash, try to use both hands. Obviously right here I'm going to use one, kind of showing you that it just how I take it off from the dash. You see how easy it was, but you got to grip it really well on the dash. Don't just kind of pry on it, because then you could, you know what I mean, kind of break something. So just kind of, if you can use one hand, try to use the whole hand. And you saw how easy that just came off. And you'll see the harnesses back there. The 2 main harnesses that you're seeing towards the left next to the antenna cable, those are the main ones. The other harness is just going to unplug, and you're not going to use it because the new radio is not going to require that piece. And once you unplug it, just take the radio to a workbench or something, and do everything else from there that the kit manual instructs you to do, and you'll see that it's fairly easy to assemble the new kit. Earlier I mentioned removing the ISO brackets. This is the bracket that I was referring to. You have 4 bolts there, or screws, on the right side, and on the left side of the radio the same. So you're going to remove those and retain these brackets, because they're going to mount to the ISO screw holes on the new radio. Every good quality brand radio will have those ISO bolts patterns to match up those brackets from Toyota or Nissan or some other vehicles out there that have ISO brackets. So make sure you remove those and retain these brackets to mount onto the new head unit. Good thing about these ISO brackets, if you notice, they're labeled right here next to my thumb. Left hand, right hand on that one. So you can't go wrong on what side of the radio you're gonna put them back on to. And like I said again, they'll match up some of those bolts right there, or on this one maybe 3 of them will match up, or 4. But you'll see that they only go a certain way to attach to the new radio. You can use the original bolts to put on to the new radio, or you can use the ones that came with the new radio. They usually come in a little small pack like this. And I tend to use the ones that came with the new branded radio. I'll use those screws to bolt on the brackets. And you can see these matched up. So I can screw them right there on those existing holes. So I already bolted on the brackets to the new radio. So it's ready to bolt onto the same dashboard location where the other one was. On this Tacoma, if you notice, you have the hazard switch and a clock here, the airbag gauge for the passenger side located on this. That's going to snap off from the back of the original radio dash board, or whatever you want to call this bezel. it's going to snap off, and you're going to mount it with the new bracket that the dash kit comes with. You're going to bolt it onto the back of this, and it's going to look the same way. And if you notice, the hole is a lot larger than that radial, so there's a trim plate that'll mount from the back side of it to cover up any remaining gaps. Like I've said before, make sure you follow the directions on the dash kit. They're very useful, so it'll help you remove the dash or to expose the screws the same way I showed you earlier, and also on how to assemble the dash kit. So it's very helpful and useful, so make sure you guys read step by step, and it'll show you how to assemble it, and also exactly what I'm going to do right now with the hazard switch and the clock. It'll show you exactly how to do it. This is what the display looks like once you unsnap it from the factory location dash right below the radio. It went in there. Now you're going to pass it on to here using this new assembly the kit came with, and 2 little screws that'll hold it into that dash bezel. This is what the hazard switch and the clock display looks like after I mounted it. Well, I haven't put the screws on yet, but I've already placed it on the back of this dash. You notice it goes there, and on the left side there's a screw hole, and also on the right side in the top. So I'll use the screws supplied by the manufacturer kit specialist and attach that display properly. Another key thing to remember is that make sure that when you assemble this by using the 4 screws that are supplied by the kit, make sure that this is properly clicking, because a lot of times if you don't align it correctly, this will get stuck when you press it and it won't come back out. So make sure you properly align it and hold it down like this while you're screwing it in. As you can see, I already prepped the wire harness. I have the manufacturer, or actually Metra Toyota harness that'll plug into the factory one inside there, and then I have the other end from the Kenwood, which I've already used crimp caps on there. And I have also the light green wire, which is the parking brake wire, which will go down to that parking brake on the corner over there. Right above it, you'll see a little one wire pin plug plugged into it. You just unplug it, splice in your wire that you need, and then plug it back into the parking brake. And I'll plug it in, and then I'll route the wire down the dash. And before I do that, I also got to mount the microphone for Bluetooth. So usually, I mean, there's no specific part of the car where you can mount it. Before, I used to mount them up here on the steering column, on the panel up here. But then I got into the habit of mounting them up here. I clip them to the headliner right there, just hook it, and then I'll tuck the wire all underneath the headliner, all alongside the A-pillar right here, and all the way down underneath the dash, and then route it back up to the dashboard there. So that's what I'm going to work on right now, including dropping the parking brake wire through the dashboard. So while I'm pulling this microphone wire underneath from the dash up here, I'm going to be dropping the other line too for the parking brake. Some of you might wonder what tool I use to get the wires through and down that way. Sometimes you could just stick your hand in and start pushing the wires through, fishing in down to the dashboard. Maybe even the large wire tie could help you out. You can tape it to the side of the wire and then start poking it that way. But what I like using is this little claw tool. If you see it at the end, it has that little plunger thingy. And let me show you guys. It has a little claw at the end. Oops, let me hold it here. And you can tie a wire in there, or grab a couple wires in there at a time. And once you close it, it'll pull the wires, and then you could feed it down there, and then with the other hand, obviously grab it from the bottom of the dash and route it to the direction you need it. So mounting the radio back to the original dash is the reverse of how you removed it. If you notice, once it's sitting in there, you'll see that the brackets line up to the existing screw holes or bolt holes, and just put the bolts back on there and put the dash back on, and you should be done. And you'll notice I put the microphone up there and routed the wire alongside the headliner. Radio dash placed already. Switch works. Radio bolted from down there like I showed you earlier. All I need to do is snap this back in, and I'm done. Turning on the radio to test it out. Microphone up there, and I'm done. Just gotta set up the radio and the installation's done. Thanks for watching, guys, and be very careful and read the directions on the kit. I'm telling you, they're very helpful. See you on the next video.